So Magna Mundi is a grand strategy game where you get to play a country over from the 15th century to the 19th century. And the goal is really to try to do better than the country did historically. Magna Mundi is special because in the game we really try to tell a story, and that's kind of been the guiding philosophy behind it. So really it's about like experiencing the events in the country as may have happened historically. Everybody loves historical accuracy, and if they don't, they didn't know they loved it. So we are really big fans of Europa Universalis at Magna Mundi. In fact, such big fans that our lead designer, Carlos Gustavo, and CEO of Universo Virtual, started to mod out of his own free time Europa Universalis. So that's how enthusiastic we were. And we grew from a mod team, and eventually we were offered the opportunity to work with Paradox using the Clausewitz engine on Europa, that was used for such titles as Europa Universalis 3 and Hearts of Iron 3 and Victoria 2. So we were offered the opportunity to work with that, and we were very excited to be able to bring some of our own vision to that. So there's several differences between Magna Mundi and Europa Universalis 3. So for example, the major difference is that we have a much more storytelling-based approach. So what this means practically is that we have hundreds of regional events, and these aren't historical events. These are sorts of things that are supposed to model historical processes and things that actually happen in countries and the factors behind them. So generals have new stats. Also, they have traits, and finally, they have a rank, which will play a role in how units fight in combat. So one example would be that you could have a rash general or a brave general. And in certain circumstances, this could be a fantastic thing. Like a brave general leads your troops into a glorious victory. But it could also be a really bad thing too, because maybe the same brave general takes a hopelessly outnumbered force and manages to get it annihilated. So you could have traits work for you and against you. And in some cases, maybe a coward is better than a brave man. So in Magna Mundi, we have 3 phases of land combat. The first phase is kind of a scouting phase where the armies really don't know where each other are. So they're trying to find each other on the field of combat. And after this is done, the next phase is the skirmishing phase. So you can think of this as kind of positional warfare, where the armies are flanking each other or crossing rivers. They're trying to get strategic advantage before the battle. Finally, there's the decisive phase. So if both generals want to force the issue, this can happen. Or if one general outmaneuvers the other, then this phase may also begin. And in this phase, it's kind of like a pitched battle. So this is the day when the battle will be fought and everything will be decided. In general, all of the phases are important because if you do very well in the scouting phase and the skirmishing phase, you will be better positioned for the decisive phase. So in naval combat, there are also some new things in Magna Mundi. The first thing is that 2 fleets need to find each other in combat. They don't necessarily know where each other are. So spotting is the crucial first phase of naval combat. The fleets need to find each other to fight. Otherwise, you can have them passing through the same sea zone and going on their own separate ways. And as we all know, the ocean is a really big place, so this happens a lot. After the spotting is done and you've seen the enemy, then at that point you start your strategic phase. So you're starting to maneuver your fleets to try to get advantages like the wind. Finally, then a general melee combat will ensue, and the results will be visible to you. We are working very hard to include all of these combat things and make sure that they're displayed very effectively in the interface. For example, we already have combat events showing on the map, and we also have created a combat log that shows in detail what happens in the battle, in each battle. It's there if you like to see what kinds of things are going on. So if you want to see, for example, that your army has lost its supply, or some kind of massive effect has happened that has changed the course of the battle, you're welcome to. Otherwise, you can pretty much ignore it. It's not something that is that requires a lot of player input. The battle is going to happen as the battle happens, regardless of whether you're watching it or not. When playing Magna Mundi, we really hope that everyone is engaged, everyone feels that, that they're experiencing history in a plausible manner, and of course we hope that they're enjoying it above everything else.